All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone. I wish I was in California right now because it's freezing outside our studios. It's 16 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is cold. My God. If they had any statues here in St. Catharines, I'm sure they'd be putting pants on them by now. The cold just goes right through you. And of course, we've got a golden noodle, right? And that is a golden retriever crossed with a poodle. Now, anybody who owns a poodle is saying, why in the name of God would anybody do that? And anybody who owns a golden retriever is saying, ha, 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 boy. And I must tell you that our little Sophie, she's 8 months old now, or 10 months old, I'm sorry. And she's a real sweetheart, except when she wants to go out at 3 o'clock in the morning, when it's really cold. I mean, it is so cold that you talk and the words freeze coming out of your mouth. That's how cold it is. So I just decided to play California Girls. And another reason is that my guest this hour, a good friend of mine, Larry Lawson, was born in California, and we were talking about California before we went to air, and I decided, let's play California music this hour here on the X Zone. And welcome back, everyone. This is hour number 2. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and of course on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, and they're streaming us around the world on classic1220.ca. Larry Lawson is my special guest. He's a good friend, a personal friend. I've had the pleasure of meeting Larry several times, and I must tell you that his knowledge as a historian, his knowledge as a police officer, he is a retired police officer. He also taught at the police academy. And he adds the two when it comes to investigating the paranormal. Now, he gives paranormal tours in Fellsmere, a beautiful little town in Florida. And I must tell you that Larry does something that not very many other ghost hunting investigation teams do, and that's he takes it very seriously. He also, he basically does a forensic investigation when he's doing his paranormal investigations, and that's what this industry needs. It is an industry these days, the paranormal. This is what it needs. It needs more seriousness, and Larry has been a proponent of, number 1, teaching, number 2, sharing the information. Because everybody's waiting for that big find where they'll get that $1 million TV contract, which never happens, by the way. So joining me now from, let me see, where are you now, Larry?
Vero Beach.
Vero Beach is my good friend Larry Lawson. Hey, Larry, welcome back. Always nice having you with us.
It's always great to be with you, Rob. Thanks for having me. And we're suffering that with the terrible cold down here
Yeah.
too. I think it's 50 right now,
Well, that is cold for your
which is
part.
it's cold for us. I
Yeah.
got to tell you, that is a little cold for us. I sit in an area between West Palm Beach and Cape Canaveral, and we normally, we get into the 50s and 60s, but
Right.
today I don't think it broke 50 all day.
Wow.
But
And of course the rain doesn't help.
no, man, no,
Yeah.
right. And you mentioned me being born in California.
Yeah.
I did. We were talking about it in the context of the fires, but I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, so I consider myself a Buckeye because I spent most of my life there before I found my way down to sunny Florida.
Well, I'll tell you, we're still going to be playing
Oh,
California
I love the
music.
Beach
Yeah.
Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. What's new, Larry? Are you still doing tours? Are you? How's first of all, how's the book doing?
The book's doing well. I published Haunted Indian River County. It came out in March.
Hmm.
The Arcadia Publishing, the History Press, put it out. Currently, and it's the county that I'm in now, where Vero Beach is. I'm currently working on Haunted in St. Lucie County, which is the county just south of us,
Hmm.
and then also in the books or in the queue, shall we say, is Haunted. I'm calling it Cops and Robbers and Ghosts,
Oh, I like
and it's
that.
a yeah, it's actually going to be not just your typical cops, and there's a lot of us that have had experiences,
Hmm.
but it's going to be talking about haunted police stations, haunted jails, haunted prisons, and haunted crime scenes. So I'm working on that one also.
Haunted crime scenes. Oh,
Yeah.
please tell me at least one story.
Uh, well, there's one in particular, and it's called the Devil's Tree in Port St. Lucie, Florida, which is just about 30 miles south of me.
Hmm.
And it was a place where there was a guy named Gerard Schaefer. Now, Gerard Schaefer was interesting because Rob, he was one of us. He was a
Really?
cop. He was a Wilton Manors, Florida cop, which is down in Dade County, and then he moved up to Martin County, Florida, which is in the southern end of my area, which we call the Treasure Coast. And he was a serial killer. Gerard Schaefer was,
Oh
and
my God.
he would. This is in the 70s, and he would pick up young ladies that were hitchhiking, and under the guise of taking them either to the station or taking them home, and he would take them instead to his torture dens
Oh Lord.
and do horrible things. Well, anyway, this Devil's Tree was one spot where he did take his victims, and there's been talk for years about the things that have gone on there, and so that's one of the more interesting spots. And of course, you want to talk about jails and police stations. I could take the whole show talking about stories that have come from cops, and because what's interesting is when you and I came on the job, you didn't talk about this stuff.
No.
If you had something happen, you just talked to your zone partner about it,
Yep.
and you never said a word because your watch commander would send you for a
A
fit
psych
for duty psych
evaluation. Yeah.
eval.
Yeah.
Now, now it's commonly talked about, and it's become much more accepted. In
Yeah.
fact, one of my favorite topics is Honolulu PD. They did an entire YouTube series on paranormal events that their officers encountered in the county of Honolulu, Hawaii.
Wow.
Very interesting. Yeah. So it's changed. I guess is my point there.
How are the investigations going with your Florida Paranormal Investigator group?
Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. That's the investigative arm of my Indian River Hauntings. Is the group that I kind of is the method I use or the arm that I use to share it with the public. But FBPI, Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, is my investigation team, and we've had some really interesting things happen. We were in an investigation last weekend up in St. Cloud, Florida, which is just south of Orlando, and it was very very interesting. Um, and we've got one coming up this weekend, and we've actually got I think three or four coming up in the next 3 weeks. So we've been pretty busy.
Um, I know that you're a proponent for the courses as well as the sharing of information. Have you had any luck with getting that idea that share the information instead of just holding it back?
Yeah, and there's some really good groups out there that do it. There's our friend Elliot up in Nova
Yeah,
Scotia
L.A.
that's a
Van Dusen,
proponent of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then Elliot Van Dusen,
Hmm.
just a class act
Oh, he
and
is.
a superior investigator. There's a group out in Virginia. There's groups that like it and do it.
Hmm.
There's groups that talk about it, but there's a lot that and most of them are mom and pop operations that are doing it maybe for the fun of it, aren't so interested. But I am a huge proponent, as you said, of both training and
Yeah.
structure. Conducting a paranormal investigation, kind of like we would conduct a criminal investigation, is, in my opinion, the way to go. That way, we've got a standardization of procedure. And here's what I get: I get a lot of people saying, "Well, I just don't agree with how you do it, and I want to do it my way." Well, the way I describe it is I have a homicide here in Vero Beach, Florida, and I have a homicide in St. Catharines. Obviously, there's some differences in the laws. Therefore, there's going to be some differences in procedures.
Yeah.
But essentially, how you guys would investigate a homicide there is the way we would here. There are just certain standards that you follow. Yes, maybe you do something a little different as far as the chain of events. But essentially, the investigation procedures are the same because that's what we've done in law enforcement. We've refined it that we all know what we need to do to collect the appropriate evidence to prove the crime.
And we share the information with each other.
And we share the information with each other. Absolutely. We haven't gotten there yet. There's people out there that see the light and understand the importance of it. Um, but because there is no standardization in the field, there's no guidelines to follow. There's not a set of rules that everybody's agreed to. You just basically got a lot of folks going out there doing it their way. And there's some great groups out there, don't misunderstand me, that are doing some terrific things.
Sure.
But what we need to do is get all of that together, get the best practices together, and set out a standard. That way, if we get evidence in Tacoma, Washington,
Hmm.
that is similar to the evidence down here in Vero Beach, Florida, well, now we've got something. We've got something to corroborate what we found. Does that make sense?
Sure does. It does. It
So
does to me. Because many times during an investigation, we would use our system CRPQ and work with CPIC to get information off NCIC, and
sure.
the information was there, and that's how law enforcement catches the bad guys, by sharing information and working with other teams. Because what was the old saying? There is no I in team. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
that's well. I believe it was a serial killer they caught in, I want to say, New York. Long, the beach murders. A guy had killed a number of prostitutes. I want to say,
Hey, Larry, I hate to do this. Let's talk about this when we come back from this commercial break, because it sounds
you
so
got
interesting. Larry Lawson is my very special guest this hour, XO Nation. A good man, a good friend, a good cop. And Larry, thank you for your service over the years, my friend.
thank you.
We'll be back on the other side. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on xzbn.net, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming on classic1220.ca. And there we have Chilliwack, a Canadian group out of British Columbia, playing California Girl, and Peter Bordley, the general manager at Classic 1220 CFAJ. There we go, buddy. My Cancun for this hour. My guest this hour is the one and only Larry Lawson, and he is an author. He is a paranormal investigator. He is a retired police officer. And you know what, Larry, you've done so much, and you're a credit not only to law enforcement for the service that you've given over the years, but you're also doing so much within the paranormal community to make it standardized so that people will take it seriously. So my hat is off to you, good friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Help me out here, Larry. You were talking about...
We were talking about the murders, the serial killings up in, I want to say, the Long Island serial killer. They just caught him not too long ago. I can't believe it. The name's escaping me. But they were able to put a lot of those murders together because the agencies were sharing information. The Green River killings that happened up in the northwestern part of this country years ago they were able to get information on that because agencies were sharing. Because I think the point you were trying to make in law enforcement, we've been successful because we shared, but it wasn't always that way, was it?
No.
For a long time, it was, especially when it came to the locals and the feds. We're not going to let the feds take our case from us. They would withhold. And the only thing that did was keep us from solving crime. Now, I am not comparing the paranormal investigative world to the importance of solving crime and protecting the public. I'm not comparing them at all. But if you look at the concept of how we conduct criminal investigations, the standard procedures that we use, and the sharing of information, we would go so much further in the field of paranormal research if we did the same thing we did in law enforcement and shared that information, had a set of standards and procedures, something that would allow us to all work within the same realm. Now, granted, there's a lot of questions that we need answered in the field. There's so much we don't know about what this paranormal phenomenon is. But once again, if we all get together and put our heads together and we start discussing things, and we check the egos at the door, and as you said, the desire to get that huge contract to be on TV, we might get a little bit farther than we've gotten over the last 15 years.
Has there been any advance in the equipment that paranormal investigators have access to?
We've talked about this quite a bit, you and I, and as well as other folks in the field. I have anyway, and the answer is really not no. Some of the equipment's got some newer lights on it, maybe some new noises it makes, but really there's not a big change, and that's got to be the next step from the scientific angle. Now, there's been improvements, such as we've gone from the simple Frank box or spirit box to using certain things like a portal that I think is going to be a help. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I'm a big believer in frequency and vibration being possible answers here.
Right.
And therein lies the radio frequencies. And I think we've improved the equipment there. But something that has actually set us into the next level of investigation, not yet. We've gotten close. There's the SLS camera, which I think has its pluses and minuses. There's certainly the portals that have their pluses and minuses. But nothing that's really set us apart from where we were 15 years ago, in my opinion.
Where do you think AI is going to come in to help paranormal investigators?
I got to be honest with you. I am not able to answer that one yet.
Okay.
I can only assume that AI and the ability to compute things quicker, look for answers quicker, analyze things quicker, has got to help.
Right.
I am not smart enough, if you will, to know how to do that yet. But I would implore that those of you out there that have that technical capability, Let's start looking at it. Let's start getting it
Hmm.
on the table and seeing how we can use it to maybe come up with some answers. Now, uh, I'm gonna put this out here for you.
Sure.
We've got folks that in the field. There's folks that, I mean, Abraham Lincoln could appear in front of them and say, "Yo, Rob, this is what's going on the other side," and those skeptics wouldn't still believe it. Yet there's folks on the other end that they hear the first knock on the wall, and it's the spirits world trying to contact them. Both sides, both sides of the extreme. The
Yeah.
answer's in the middle somewhere. To say that it doesn't occur, and this is just my opinion
Hmm.
again, is as bad as saying every little knock is a ghost. For millenniums, every culture, every socioeconomic level, every educational level, every country, every race has these stories. It can't be that everybody is losing their mind or
No.
imagining it. So there's got to be something. The question is what it is. And until we as a field can get together and start talking about it
Hmm.
and coming up with these standards, coming up with a structure, coming up with a way to create new experiments, we're not going to find out what that answer is.
You know, when you were doing your show, Paranormal Stakeout, you had some great guests on it, and I believe that is what is required, is having someone ask the questions with the experience of the paranormal investigative work that they do. The answer's out there. You just have to ask that right question. And I think you were doing a great job on that, Larry.
Well, I appreciate it, and that's what we have to do is have to keep asking the questions.
Hmm.
Now, we also need to maybe refine how we do our experiments. I had a very a person I have a ton of respect for. His name's Christopher Huff. Made a comment to me about the other day about when you do the experiments, quit going macro and start going micro with what you want to accomplish. In other words, don't just look at the entire spectrum of
Hmm.
what the paranormal is. Pick an area and study it and experiment with it until you can define that answer and then go to the next. Maybe that's the answer. I thought that was a very I thought that was an intelligent comment on how we should do this. But the bottom line is, until we start talking, until we decide to come together and truly come together,
Hmm.
I don't. We're going to have trouble conquering this.
Larry, in your expert opinion, and based on the investigations that you've done as a paranormal investigator, is there any common thread between the people who have what you consider to be credible experiences?
I think it's how. Okay, I think it's how they present
Hmm.
themselves. They're willing to listen to other possibilities of why they experienced what they did.
Hmm.
Um, they're willing to look at other angles of what could explain what happened to them, yet it happened. Certainly their background. If you've got somebody that has a history of heavy narcotics usage,
Uh-huh.
or perhaps mental health issues, are not you know are not going to hold the same level as a scientist.
Right, definitely.
Okay, so and I'm not sure I'm really answering the question you've asked, but certainly how they present themselves is important to me as a cop. You learn to
Hmm.
interrogate and interview folks, and you can tell a lot by how they look at you, what their mannerisms are, how they conduct themselves while you're talking to them. And I certainly use those skills when I'm talking to folks that have information for me.
Right. In your opinion, Larry, what has been the most concrete piece of evidence that you yourself have either seen or experienced that makes you believe 100% that there is more to this world than we will ever know unless we start investigating and asking those right questions.
And that's, you put that very, very well, because we don't know what the phenomenon is. Anybody that tells you they know exactly what a ghost is either lying to you, themselves, or a little bit of both, because we don't know the answer. So the way you phrased that was excellent. But as far as concrete, I mean, I've got several things. I mean, my first experience was I got my start in law enforcement in the Dade County Jail in Miami. I was just a kid. I was 20 years old, and clearly saw a tall, lanky person in uniform on the catwalk, going around the outsides of the cells. Thought it was our lieutenant. Told the guys in the control booth, the LTs on the catwalk, better get out there. And the bottom line is there was nobody there. And I know what I saw. So that's probably my earliest example.
Right.
I mean, we've gotten some terrific EVPs on our website. One is a little boy that answered us. And you know me, but the listeners don't know me. So, I guess you can say, yeah, sure. But I know what happened here. We had a group in the old school in Fellsmere and asked a question on a recorder. Is this the room you like to be in, Billy? Or something to that,
Right.
to that extent. And you get a little boy's voice coming back saying, yes, sir. Just like that.
Unreal.
Now, there was no kid in that building.
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you, you know me, Rob.
Yeah.
So that was, but if I may, probably the most compelling thing that's happened in recent times.
Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a cliffhanger here because I'm running into my break, my friend.
Oh, okay. Then we'll talk about this when I come back.
Oh, yeah. The cliffhanger. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. All right, I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, not the da-da-da-da show. We're coming to you on the Talkstar, Talkstar, still with Talkstar. But we've enveloped everything under the umbrella of the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our good friends at Classic 1220 CFAJ FM AM. AM. Here in St. Catharines, Ontario, who stream us around the world on classic1220.ca. Larry and I will return on the other side of this break, so whatever you do, do not go away. Safe and warm in LA. I don't know how safe they would be, but they certainly would be warm with all those wildfires going on. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming us around the world on classic1220.ca. Larry Lawson's my special guest, a good friend of mine, and a paranormal investigator, retired police officer, author now. And Larry, let's pick up on that story.
I will. I want to mention one thing first, real quick, Rob. You played the folks from Canada that song "California Girl."
Yeah.
But there's one song. It's not even a song. It's a talk through that I just want to mention because to all my friends in Canada, and that was Byron McGregor's "Americans." And I just wanted to say that song, I heard that when I was a kid, and that song still hits with me today. And I just want to say thank you, Canada, for being such a good friend of ours.
Well, if your president has his way, we'll be the 51st state.
Oh, that's just bluster. That'll never happen because Canadians are a special breed, and just know we love you, especially down
Yeah,
in Florida.
yeah,
We see a lot. But anyway,
yeah. We love you
so
guys too, and I don't want politics to get in between us, and
it won't. It
yeah.
won't. It won't. America won't let that happen. There's a great commercial on right now about what a good friend Ontario is. It's commercials just that's on our TVs down here
Oh yeah,
talking about what a great friend Ontario is to Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan,
yeah.
all Quebec. Canada's our friends, and I just had to say that because I think the world of
Oh,
Canada.
you
So
brought a tear to
anyway,
my eye. Thank you, Larry.
anyway. So back to
What
the
a nice
well,
thing to say. Thank you.
it is sincerely meant.
I
It
know
is
it is. I
sincerely
know
meant.
it is, and I shouldn't make light of it. So let's get back to the crux here.
This story is recent, and it really puts a exclamation point behind why I do this.
Okay.
We conducted an investigation at a place I will not say where,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was in the town of Sebastian, which is between in the area here,
A great place.
and yeah, it is a wonderful
Yeah.
place. Captain Hirons is there.
That's
You
right.
stayed there.
That's right.
Um, at any rate, my daughter was a police officer for the city,
Mm-hmm.
and she answered a call late one night. It was a burglar alarm, and met the key holder there, the owners. Got in there, and they found something on the floor that was in the middle of the floor, and it shouldn't have been. And they had saw something on the camera while Ashley was in there, and they made a comment about they have strange things going on in this little house that was built back in the 20s, I might say. And she said, you need to talk to my dad. So they contacted me, and I brought the crew out there, and we set it up. And it was really kind of a quiet investigation, not a whole lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we had all of our gear set up, our cameras, because we film everything. We want to make sure everything is on, audio and videotape, so there's no questions on anything.
Right.
And we began to investigate. And as time went on, we had people using the spirit box. I even had a medium that was with us via the internet. And this was something that we've tried to do. We've had a lot of success with, but we had all the gear out just to see what we could come up. Well, next thing you know, the spirit box, people using the dowsing rods, and everybody is separated, earphones on, nobody can hear each other.
Mm-hmm.
They all start talking, to make a long story short, about a little girl. She's about 5. Her name is Belinda or Lindy. I'll say this. Um, and she had passed in an accident, and an Uncle Oscar had had done it, and he didn't mean to. And the little girl had lots of uncles, if you can kind of get where I'm going with
Yeah,
that.
I sure do.
And as she began to talk, I kind of switched, not her talking, but I was getting this information from 4 or 5 different sources of equipment in the room. And I don't know if you remember this now, but my primary specialty was crimes against children.
Yeah.
And this kid started, the information we was getting put my antennas up. So I started asking questions, and talks about, Uncle Oscar didn't mean to, he didn't mean to hurt me, da 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 da. And I start questioning as if I was talking to a child victim, perhaps. And we're getting this information, and next thing you know, I got to try and narrow down the times, or when did this happen? And she says, Uncle Oscar didn't mean to do it. He took me down by the water, but then back, and da da da. And then I said, well, do you like TV? No. Do you like radio? Yes. Well, do you like this radio show? No. Do you like that radio show? No. Do you like Amos and Andy? Yes, was the answer we got. Okay, so now I've got an era.
Yeah.
She talked about this Uncle Oscar, and then of course it died down after a while. But this is pretty significant information that we got, and yes, I am leaving out some data here, because I need to. But I sent my daughter back called her up the next day, said, check the records, see if you had a child that passed away unsuspectingly, or under suspicious circumstances at any time in the past and found nothing. Okay, but she happened to go talk to the uh, superintendent of the local cemetery, and after she talked to him, he calls me back like the next day and says, "Look, just need to let you know, I had a family that came down here a week ago. This is before he talked to my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and we got talking about kids being buried here. And these people, they were there visiting a certain gravesite, so they had the family had a shirt tail or a loose relative that was also in the area at the time, and she died in 1939. She was 5 years old.
Oh,
Her name was Belinda, and she died tragically. We don't know how. And the superintendent at the cemetery took me to this kid's grave. Now, I've kind of told this story very quickly. There's a lot more detail to it, but we basically got all this information, and we had no idea of anything like this. Yet now I've got a gravesite. Can't find any records what happened to her. The gravesite is small. It's about maybe 4 feet long. It's lined in wood. The gravestone was hand carved, and now you can't even get a good rubbing off of it. But this the cemetery said, the cemetery superintendent said, this is the girl they're talking about. They took me right to her grave.
wow.
So my question is, how did we know this? How did we get this information? Luck? Coincidence? I don't know. I'm still trying to find the family because he didn't get their name, because
Mm-hmm.
at the time of their discussion it was kind of innocuous. We didn't really pay much attention to it. But we're still trying to find who these people are and get more information. But my point being is this an unsolved homicide? Oh, and here's another interesting fact. We found out that there were less than a mile from the house, and he died in 1970 or 2017 or something like that at age 100, was a guy named Oscar.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we found that through our research. Research is a huge part of this, obviously. So my point is, this is the type of thing that keeps my energy going. Now,
Understandable.
I'm hoping we can solve this. I'm hoping we can get some answers. I don't know, but this is what it's about.
This is a cold case.
Could be.
Yeah.
It could. Is it coincidence? You can't
No.
100% say that it's not, but dang.
I don't know. I'd say 99.9% it's not coincidence, Larry.
Well, there's no way we could have gotten the information we did that was
Mm-hmm.
so similar to what this five. I mean, Amos and Andy, 30s and 40s
Yeah.
on the radio, right? And she died in 1939 under tragic circumstances, but they didn't know quite how. Interesting stuff.
Is it possible, Larry, that the spirit of this little girl, God bless her, waited for somebody like you to give this information to, because she knew that you'd do something about it?
Well, if we're going to do this work and we're going to look into this, then you have to recognize that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a whole group of like 10 of my guys that were there, 10 of my team members that were there that heard it and experienced the whole thing. We're all not nuts. We all didn't imagine it. We
Yeah.
all heard it. We experienced it. So yes, is that a possibility? Sure it is. Um, there's a lot of other possibilities out there as how this could have happened, or why we got this information. But that's part of the mystery, isn't it?
It certainly is, and you and I have talked about this case off air, and
Right.
the
Right.
information that you received is phenomenal. It truly is. In my opinion, it is one of the best cases, if not the best case, that I have ever heard about that can actually be proved with evidence. The evidence is
Yes.
the little girl's graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little girl. I mean, I was absolutely floored when he took me out there. He said, there's a gravesite. So, but that's probably at this moment the most significant thing that we've gotten that we're working on.
Well, I don't know what to say except, fascinating, truly fascinating, Larry.
Yeah, well, and just wish us luck. Hope that we can somehow get the information that we need to at least come up with an answer.
Yeah. See, I don't need to wish you luck because I know you, and you're going to persevere until you find the answers. And that's because you're an ex-cop. And you care. You're a dad. You can relate.
Yeah, that's so
But,
true.
Larry, what website can our listeners get more information about the work you do and your team?
You, yeah, you can find it. You can get onto both Indian River Hauntings as well as the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation at IndianRiverHauntings.com. It'll take you to both websites. You can also find us on Facebook, Indian River Hauntings, or Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. And if you're interested, excuse me, in seeing what we do, we've got some things up on our YouTube channel, which is found at Indian River Hauntings 2341. If you want to see some of the stuff that we put out there, we don't do professional videos. We just put some of our stuff out there so people can see what we do, but also learn a bit about history, because that's one of my other goals, is to make people aware of their history.
All right, my good friend, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break, and we'll be back discussing more with our special guest this hour, Larry Lawson. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca.
Somebody else's name. So if you're dreaming about California, it don't matter at all where you've played before. California's a brand new game. Trying to be a hero, winding up a zero.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network, as well as on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario. And they stream us around the world on classic1220.ca. Visit their website. They've got the best music going, and I'll tell you also some other great shows. Larry Lawson's my special guest. And first of all, Larry, thanks very much for coming on the show. Always great talking to you.
My pleasure.
But I have to ask you a question now, as a former police officer. It's political. Your president has given pardons to the members of the J6 who went through the justice system. They in one or two in some cases they assaulted police officers. I was listening to one officer today that they grabbed him out of the group, out of the police line. They dragged him, put him down on the ground. They tased him in the neck with his own taser. They ripped off the badge off his chest, stole ripped off his radio, and went for his gun, of which he was able to keep his hands on his weapon and maintained his weapon. And the other people who destroyed the insides of the building, of the Capitol building, and yet President Trump was always saying that he was a policeman for the president for the policeman. How does it sit with you with what's happening?
I wish the answer to that was simple, and it's not. First of all, you're dealing with politics,
Yeah.
and we certainly can talk about the uh, pardons given by the former president, uh, as far in his promises never to pardon his son, for example.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at here is politics. I do believe at times becomes an issue of expediency. What do I need to do
Right.
at that particular moment? So we'll put that out of the way. I am conservative. I do not mind saying this publicly. Um, I did not like where our country was heading in many ways. But your question is very specific. It's about the J6.
Yeah.
Now, I do agree in our country, we do have the right to protest. We absolutely do. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people that were just in Washington, I don't agree with them, but
Yeah.
that's part of who we are.
Sure.
I don't have to agree with what they do. Don't break the law. And there is the argument that it's the people's house and the people went in there. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not going to cotton to that.
Yeah.
Um, they attacked. They went into the building. They attacked others. Now, as much as I am not a fan of where our country was heading politically,
Mm-hmm.
if I was a Capitol Police officer and I was in that building, I may not have liked what my bosses were doing, but my sworn duty was to protect. It's just like if I was Secret Service, even if I didn't agree with the president, whoever he was, I would still step in front of him to take a bullet.
Yeah.
That's my duty. That's my duty. Um, so now we have officers that were involved that were injured during the J6 riots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it at all. I'm not.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I grant you the whole people just getting prosecuted for the craziest things sometimes. And yes, maybe if somebody was outside, they saw people going in, and wow, let's go in to see what's going on. And they walked into the Capitol building and looked around and walked out. Okay, I can deal with a pardon for that. I cannot deal with it I do not like it when there is violence that was
Mm-hmm.
perpetrated not only against other police officers but against other people and the damaging of property. That's my opinion. Um, so no, I'm not happy about that. I don't think of it. I mean, the cop was hurt. The cop was hurt doing his duty.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's where I stand on it.
Was it a demonstration or an insurrection?
Wow, you're asking me a question that it's real easy to answer it by what you see on the news. I would to answer that intelligently and appropriately. I would
Yeah.
have to see what the investigative reports and what they have
Sure.
found. I don't think it was an insurrection. I think it was a riot that got out of hand. I think it was a group of people that got their dander up
Yeah.
and couldn't control themselves. Nobody was nobody was going to take over the country. It was people can act stupid, and that's what happened was wrong. I want this publicly. Nobody has the right to do what they did by storming the Capitol. In my opinion, this is just my opinion,
Yes.
and do what they did. Absolutely not. And they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Do I think it was an insurrection? Let's get real. No, it was a bunch of people that let their emotions take them away. In my opinion, doesn't make it any
Right.
less wrong. Don't misunderstand.
Right.
Doesn't make it any less wrong. But the United States will stand. The United States will survive it, and we did.
But what does this what does this tell other people about the system? 1,500 pardons. People who went through the judicial system, who were tried, they were found guilty, and they were serving their sentence. And with the stroke of a pen, 1,500 people get off the hook.
Well, it depends. It depends
Yeah.
on what it was. Now,
Mhm.
if they'd gone through, and I don't know that they did, if they'd gone through each case, and they would have said, well, this person merely walked into the building and
Right.
he's been in jail for a year for it. Okay,
Okay, I agree with you.
that's fine. Did he hit a cop? Did they hurt somebody? Did they steal something? I think every case should have been taken individually. It wasn't done for a reason, which is I'm not privy to the reason. But Joe Biden's son was convicted, and he got a pardon too. So I mean, my point, I think the whole system has a flaw to it. I mean, and how do you also give preemptive pardons?
I've never heard of that
Okay.
before.
I mean, so okay, so you cannot charge him for anything he might have done for 10 years. What? So my point is the whole thing was flawed. Everything is flawed in that respect, in my opinion.
All right. I find it rather distasteful
Oh yeah,
that
absolutely.
President Trump is inviting the people who orchestrated the events of January 6, 2020 to the White House. I I don't know.
Once again, I do not know the details on
Hmm.
that. Uh, yeah, I don't know that it's a great idea. There's probably some political reason why that is being done.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean I got to agree with it.
Yeah,
But, but Rob, both sides are doing it. Both sides are doing things that are distasteful, and it doesn't make one does not offset the other.
that's true.
Um, and I think what this says is there is a flaw in the system. That I mean, uh, I don't think part of this is judgment, part of this is system. You should not be able to give a preemptive um,
Pardon.
pardon to somebody because they might have done something. And you know what? If it was me, I would say, don't give me a preemptive pardon. I didn't do anything.
Exactly.
If I didn't do anything. So I think that the system is flawed overall, and I don't think judgment was used in this specific areas on either side. That's my opinion. Um, I do find I am very unhappy that people that damaged property that committed violent acts were pardoned.
I
I am unhappy about that.
Yeah, the part that really upsets me is as a former police officer that police officers were harmed. They were
Yes. Yep.
assaulted.
Yep.
They were brutally attacked, and the perpetrators pled guilty in court to doing
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
and they're out of jail scot free. Does this say to them that they can do it
Well,
again
that's
because they have power? They have power coming from the White House that they're kind of, they can do it again.
sure. I mean, I think that's once again a problem with the whole system.
Yeah.
We had the problems in California where people weren't even being, they were going in and looting almost with a flash mob looting of stores, and nobody was going to jail for that. Once again,
Yeah.
it's a problem with the system that I think folks at the top are using, my opinion again only,
Hmm.
to feather their own nest to make their constituents happy so they can be reelected. Politicians have to return to the belief, I should say, that they serve the people, and it is their duty, their sworn duty, to do best for the people, not to get themselves reelected. Those cops that were injured, I don't know who they are. I don't know what their political affiliation was. It doesn't matter. They were sworn to do a duty. They were sworn to
Hmm.
protect. They did their job.
And so
And
did
people
you
that
for so many years, my friend. And once again, I thank you for your service. Larry, as always, whenever you and I get to yapping, time goes by very
yeah,
fast. Larry, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Once again, quickly give you the websites that our listeners can go to find out more about you and the great work you do.
Sure. IndianRiverHauntings.com is the website. You can get to both my team's websites from there. You can get us on Facebook also for Bureau of Paranormal Investigation and Indian River Hauntings, and check us out on YouTube at the @ Indian River Hauntings 2341.
Larry Lawson, take care of yourself, Larry. Please give my best to your family and, of course, to your team. And I look forward to the next time you join us here on the X Zone, as well as the next time your new book comes out. Keep us abreast of what's going on, pal.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, Larry.
See you soon.
Be safe,
Bye-bye.
my friend. XO Nation, I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. So until tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, I'd like you all to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.